Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Med School Minutes podcast, where we discuss what it takes to attend and successfully complete a medical program. This show is brought to you by St. James School of Medicine. Here is your host, Kaushik Gua.
Welcome to another episode of Med School Minutes. Today we're filming from the sunny shores of St. Vincent, and our very special guest is Dr. Moez Limayem. He is the president of University of North Florida, and we're going to talk to him and pick his brain a little bit about the future of higher education, especially while we're in the midst of this AI and information revolution that is going on. So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Limayem.
All right, Dr. Moez Limayem, thank you so much for joining us today in beautiful, sunny St. Vincent. I hope you're enjoying your stay with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been just a wonderful stay, just a great time meeting your wonderful students, your amazing faculty, and the administration. It has been really a joy. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the compliment. Why don't we just dive right into it and give us a little bit about your background, how you came to the United States and how you ended up as the president, which is in lay speak, the CEO. What a CEO of a corporation is a president of an educational institution. So why don't you give us...
Thank you. I'll try to give you at least the elevator pitch and not bore you with a lot of details. I'm originally from Tunisia, born to just a great parents. My mother was just a loving mother and completely illiterate, but one of the smartest people I've ever met. And my father was an educator. He was an elementary school teacher, then was assigned to be the principal of elementary school in a very poor city in the east of Tunisia. And I remember very well when I was probably 3-4 years old. Of course, there was no electricity. He will take the only oil lamp that we have at our disposal at home to go and use it to give pro bono tutoring for the students so that he can prepare them for a very difficult national exam that will allow them at a very young age to either go to high school or stop and do something else. So the passing rate is less than 30%, and because of his dedication to his students, he reached a passing rate of 100%.
Wow.
And I was I remember also vividly asking him question, Dad, why do you take the only oil lamp we have and you leave us with candles? And they said, son, these students need it more than we do. They need it so that we can change their lives, and they change the lives of their families and become great citizens. And so what he was really talking to me about at that very young age is the value of education in transforming lives, and also student success and commitment to students. And so I was born with that at home. It's a family affair, if you want. Then fast forward, I went to the Institut Supérieur de Gestion, which is a premier school of business in Tunis, the capital. The very first day, the dean in the orientation said, I have some good news and some bad news. Like, okay, what is the good news? The good news is that they have a scholarship for students to go to the US, full ride, airplane, tuition, fees, books, everything. It was like really a dream come true. It was like, wow, this is great. What's the bad news? The bad news is as one scholarship and about 3,500 students.
Wow.
So I really made it as a goal to get that scholarship. Luckily, I did get it and went to University of Minnesota. I did my MBA, PhD. Went to, then my first job was in Canada, Quebec. Met my beautiful wife, Dr. Alia. Then we moved to Hong Kong, and a few years in Hong Kong, then Switzerland, and then from Switzerland back to the US via the University of Arkansas, the University of South Florida as dean, and since 2022, I've been the president of this great university, the University of North Florida. So it's a really long journey. But what is really important for me, at least, is that I went through all the ranks for academia. I started as a teaching assistant, research assistant, then graduated, became assistant professor, then associate professor, then department chair, then full professor, associate dean, vice president, and now president.
Wow, well, that's quite a journey. So you mentioned that you did your PhD or did your MBA and then PhD. What did you do? What was the specialization?
Yeah, my specialization has always been that intersection between technology and business. And how do we use technology for better business, for better decision making? My dissertation one was, how do we use technology for better group decision making? Because as I'm sure you know, Kaushik, group think is a reality, and groups, there is a saying that says nothing gets accomplished by any group unless it consists of three people. One is absence, and the other one is not there. So that's how this is how things get done. So I designed and built a system that actually really helped people make better decisions as a team. And then of course my research evolved to study newer technology like electronic commerce, then addictions to texting and to using these wonderful devices we all have. And now, of course, artificial intelligence is something that I'm very passionate about and studying a lot.
Right. So just so people understand what a president does, can you describe what your day-to-day would be like?
So I wake up around noon.
Right.
Have my breakfast, then do some video games, and then it's time to eat. No, but in reality, it's 24/7, 365.
Right.
At the University of North Florida is the backbone of Northeast Florida. We have 17,000 students. We have around more than 3,000, 4,000 employees. We have our own police. We have our own city, if you want. So things happen, and you really have to be alert, and you have to be available. Even Florida is known for hurricanes. So even during hurricanes, they give me a satellite phone, so I'm always reachable. So the best analogy, Kaushik, is think of a university president as a CEO of a company that really hopefully puts a great leadership team to help them do their job, but also is responsible for rallying the troop behind a very compelling, attractive vision for the university, some strategic goals. And my role, I see it as bringing resources from the state and from philanthropists and from entrepreneurial activities, hire good people, remove obstacles, and get out of their ways.
Wow, it's very well put. Very eloquent.
Yeah, I always tell my team, my cabinet, I'm hiring you to tell me what to do. If you find me telling you what to do, there is a problem.
Yeah, no, that's a very fair point.
So most of the decisions we make as a cabinet, as a team, in all transparency and communication is the key.
Okay, wow. So now, considering your background, I think University of North Florida is very blessed to have a person with your background. I was just talking earlier to Dr. Alia about how within academics, and it seems very difficult to go about change. And everybody knows that academic change happens at a glacial pace.
Oh, absolutely.
However, it seems like we are in the middle of a revolution, an information revolution with the app. How do you see that impacting education in general, and what steps is UNF actually taking to position itself for and prepare itself for this uncertainty that we're going to face in the next couple of years?
That's a great question, Kaushik, and it's important to develop a vision and a plan, but we all know that culture will have any strategic plan, any vision, any mission for breakfast anytime.
Right.
So that's why we work a lot on changing the culture from a culture of complacency to a culture of innovation, of empowerment, of transparency, of recognitions of excellence. So we work a lot on that culture. And you're absolutely right. Now, like healthcare, like other industry, higher education is an industry that is in absolute change at the speed that we don't even comprehend. And artificial intelligence is a great example. It's changing everything we do. It's changing how we teach, how we hire, how do we operate, how do we manage, how we assess learning. So I think, to answer your question, Kaushik, my view is that we're going to see winners and losers in higher educations. The winners who really embrace this change and this technology and be more proactive and be the learning organization, if you want. And the losers where business is as usual. And even you've seen, with the simple generative AI systems, there are universities who are forbidding students from using it.
I know.
Yes, which is really interesting, right? And guess what? It doesn't matter what the university does, students do use it. So what are we doing? And I think I presented our approach to several thousands academic leaders in San Diego in a conference a couple of months ago, and it was well received. So first of all, we made a promise to our stakeholders, internally and externally, that we will be a leader in AI.
Right.
Even though we're making the airplane as we're flying it, but we will be a leader. So what does that mean? Means you have to be intentional. So I formed an AI council that has really good representations of faculty and staff and students, co-chaired by our CIO and our Dean of Engineering. And I gave them a very simple, but yet complicated and complex task. I said, I want you to develop a plan for UNF to be a leader worldwide in use of AI for learning, use of AI to strengthen our research, use of AI to also be the best run university in terms of operational excellence using AI, and also to be the best in serving our community in their AI needs. So this is very ambitious. And let me tell you, when you empower people and you really let them be innovative, creative, they came up with just the most compelling strategic plan. Actually, it's available. You can just Google UNF AI strategic plan. You will see very specific vision, mission, strategic goals, but also metrics for progress. And also accountability, who's responsible for what. So we're making a lot of progress. We are training our faculty. We are developing policies to also put a framework for an ethical use of AI by our students, by our faculty and staff. And we're really changing the culture. We're becoming a leader in AI because of that intentionality.
But I'm sure, as big a university as you are, there are some roadblocks, not just in terms of actual logistics, but I assuming that there are a lot of people who think this is a bad idea.
Absolutely.
We've faced that as well in our school, where a lot of people say that AI should not be used.
Absolutely.
It reduces the critical thinking of students, and in our school, a lot of professors say that doctors need to think critically, and AI diminishes that ability. Considering your educational background, that you studied this in your research technology, do you think that that's really true?
I don't think it's true. Actually, that's, I think, one of the biggest misconceptions about AI. AI is a tool. It really depends how you use it. you take simple things like this camera, like our phones. Some people use it to take calls. In response, maybe text. Other will use it in much more innovative, creative ways. Some will use it for scams. That is what AI is. Is a tool. What happens is that I think the impact is long lasting, is very significant and evolving. So this is our approach to this. First, we educate. So we are having a lot of training, and actually the team shared with me just our use of AI tools since we started our effort. It was the curve is like this. It goes really very few people, and then we started our strategic plan and our training, and it was off the roof. So going back to the critical thinking, which is really important, because we don't want to train students who are not able to think or learn how to learn and adapt, like justifiably so. So what we are doing is we're training our faculty on usage of how can you use generative AI while not just preserving critical thinking, actually enhancing critical. Just to give you a very simple example, we actually encourage our faculty to ask students to use AI, but use it as input, not output. So actually, the exercise that, hey, go and write a paper is absolutely obsolete. I mean, how long does it take ChatGPT to write a paper? They will make it. They will make it your own. But one way we train our faculty is that actually they ask students to use ChatGPT for any topic for whether it's appropriate for the class. But then they take that output that was given by generative AI to criticize it, critically think it, and come up with their own. That's what it really is. Now, one might argue also writing is becoming a problem because, and you can literally now go through a doctoral program without writing 2 sentences. You literally can. Yes. So we have to really rethink that to in-class writing exercises, to critical writing as we described before. But I think there are many ways we train our faculty for using generative AI to enhance critical thinking, not to. And at the end of the day, this is what we tell our faculty. Sometimes we talk about the train is leaving or the bus is leaving. I think this is a jet leaving. And the jet will not wait for the nayers and people who are opposing and resisting to change. So, if you want to join the ride, we're going to make a great seat for you, first class seat, but we'll not stop the jet from taking off because you don't want to join.
That's a very good analogy. What about the naysayers? I'm sure you've had professors come and tell you, this is a bad idea, we shouldn't adopt this, etc., etc. How do you deal with those stakeholders who are naysayers?
Yeah, I think first thing you do is really educate them. And that doesn't work for 100%, but really by itself, it really helps convert some of the naysayers. We also use incentives. We're dealing with the PhDs. They do the math. So we actually assign resources for grants. For people that come up with to do research on how they can use it for their courses, for enhancing critical thinking, or for enhancing their research. That really helped a lot. So incentive, as I said, education, incentive, and then recognition. Recognitions. I go out of my way as president to write handwritten notes, to send personalized messages to the colleagues who actually are helping us progress in our AI strategic plan. I think these 3 have worked. But you know what? There will always be nares.
Right.
And you have to have the wisdom that at one point in time, the jet is leaving.
Right.
The jet is leaving.
I actually read once that apparently when the printing press became widespread and books became relatively common in every household, it was said that parents used to discourage children from going out, from reading books, because apparently it was a work of the dead. So, I mean, I every time I talk to some folks who are, bad-mouthing AI, I keep thinking about
It's
that.
the same thing. Another even more obvious, calculator.
Yeah.
Right? It's like when calculator came, my God, it was the resistance. This will kill our ability to do math. We think,
Yeah.
calculators are there.
Yeah.
We're still curing diseases. We're still building great buildings and dams and bridges and roads, and we adopt. And I think resistance technology is, and this is what I always say, and I'm sure this is true for medical students who are worried about AI or even medical doctors, is you will not be replaced by an AI system.
Okay.
But you will be replaced by somebody who knows how to use an AI system effectively, efficiently, and ethically.
Right.
That's really the truth. Then I'll give you an example. If I am asking my team to standardize a certain operation, transaction, even in our day-to-day operations, let's say I give it to person A and give it to person B. Person A will go and take a few weeks to come up with whatever is the template or that we need to use. Person B will go use AI as input, not output, make it ours, criticize it, and make it really the UNF way, and comes back in a day.
Right.
When it's time for me to promote, to acknowledge which one you think,
Right.
even though person A, who took 4 or 5 weeks, might be very thoughtful, but it just we cannot afford not to use these tools.
When it comes to AI, have you reached roadblocks when it comes to resources, like money? This is costing too much.
Yes.
What do you do in that situation?
Yes, this is always.
Okay.
And this is really the problem is, we don't have money. And the other problem is I have in my job is people say, okay, give us money, we'll figure out what to do. It doesn't work that way. It's like, trust us. So Kaushik, I have a principle, I really do, is that resources follow vision. Mm-hmm. This is really important, and I really hope your wonderful students will remember that. When you have a very compelling vision that excites people, finding the resources is not that difficult. I'll give you just a very specific example, then we go back to AI. When I landed at UNF, we were the most underfunded university in the state of Florida. And that's very simple math, right? You take the state appropriation, you divide it by how many FTE students, how many students, and you find that ratio that gives you your funding per student. We were the most, and so we developed a very compelling vision that is based on strategic growth in certain areas, that emphasize student success, community engagement, research that actually is relevant and impactful and timely, and also our faculty and staff success. So we really did this. We have measures. In 3 years, we broke all the records in terms of injecting new resources from the state because they liked that vision.
Okay.
They really saw a vision. People want to invest. So when it comes to AI, the same thing. This is why we spend a lot of time developing that compelled vision to be the best in AI, because I knew if we have that vision, bringing resources from the state or from other things becomes easier, even for me to justify and to bring it. So yes, it is costly, but not as costly as one might think. I think the biggest cost for AI is resistance to change.
Here's a question. Like, as you said, obviously resources follow vision.
Yeah.
Considering UNF, which is a state school, which is a not-for-profit,
Yes.
what are the stakeholders who are donating or giving money for the as resources to you? What are they really getting out?
They're getting the most precious and important thing any region, any community needs. Let me tell you what I mean by that. When a business, in your case, a hospital or organization, they want to expand in a region, or they're exploring coming to a region, what is their number one question? It's not, are we going to have tax rebates? And that is, every region will give you that talent. Are we going to have the talent in numbers and quality that we need? If they don't expand and they don't move here. So what we are providing our communities, our state, our country, is the most precious resources, which is qualified talent that can critically think, that really can use the latest tools ethically and responsibly. That's what is the best return on investment. And if you look at every single major vibrant city in the U.S., you will always find a vibrant university in its backyard. What you are doing here at St. James School of Medicine for St. Vincent is a great example. You really are creating a lot of economic impact that the country has not seen before. That's what is the return on investment. So you're not only giving a great doctors, qualified doctors for different hospitals, but also you're employing people here. We're here as your guests. We are staying in a hotel. We're consuming. That's the economic impact that we give back to the philanthropists, to the state, to the community that we are in.
I mean, as St. James, we're actually planning to start undergraduate programs. We already have one, mostly for intentions.
That's great.
And really the first indigenous
That's a great return on investment. And I'm sure the government here is so appreciative of that effort.
Oh, yes. They've been extremely supportive.
Absolutely. Because that's the return on investment. That's the return on investment.
So now, switching gears, I know you had mentioned that in your education and PhD, you had basically learned about the effect on technology.
Yes.
On human production.
Yes.
Now, I really need to ask this question. When it comes to your own kids,
yes,
have you limited, and I know you have two very successful children, but as they have been growing up, have you limited their access to technology at all for them, based on your expertise? Or is it just a dad who's saying, no, you need to sit down and talk to me?
No, I think we really did something that our kids hated.
Okay.
And now they absolutely thank us for it. Is they were not allowed to have any smartphones before high school.
Okay.
I think that was really important.
Okay.
They hated it. All their friends have it, classmates, and they used, as you said, they're very smart and eloquent. They used a very sound line of reasoning to convince us that we are the worst parents in the world because we're not giving them these smartphones. But they have just what we call now damn phones. They can text and they can call. Okay. And so I think that really helped Kaushik, because you're so vulnerable when you're elementary and when you're the middle school. You're still shaping. And then we bought them phones, but they can lose now they're grown. But they were warned that they could lose their phone privileges under certain conditions. Actually, I remember we even wrote contracts with them. Okay. These are the rules.
Oh.
You violate this, with this. We did it for phones. We did it for cars. But I think they're, as they grow older, more communications and educations about the negative impact of over using screen time is the best way. And actually, I did a lot of research on texting while driving, because you probably all seen it is one of the worst evils of these new technologies, and so many lives were lost. Actually, I lost a friend because he was texting and driving. So I did a lot of experiments and a lot of research on why people do this, So I got into addiction behavior and how do you fight addictions. And it's really interesting, a lot of governments and different authorities, the way they deal with addictions, for example, texting while driving is punishment. We catch you, hefty fine.
Right.
We will catch you, we'll revoke your driver license, you lose points. And what I found in research, actually, that is the worst possible way to deal with it.
Right.
So what really does is, because you're not getting at the root of addiction, is people, what do they do now? They try to hide while texting when they see police, and they will use it in an awkward position, causing even more accidents and more fatalities. And what I found is that awareness and education is really the way to go. And actually, I did something that a lot of people did not like, but turned out to be effective. In my previous job as dean, I brought a car that is completely destroyed from someone who was driving and texting, put it right in front of the building.
Right.
Like, this is what driving and texting, and it really raised a lot of eyebrows, and that people, it's shocking.
Right.
But made people think twice, better than saying, "Hey, if I catch you." So I think there are many ways, and I still believe that awareness, education, and persistence are now really and something that is still aspirational for me is lead by example to our kids, which is really aspirational given my job. But I try as much as we can.
But I have to say that after meeting Sarah, she's an incredibly impressive young woman. But one of the things that really stood out was that all my interactions with her, I didn't see a phone that she brought. I mean, I'm sure she must have brought a phone, but at least, which is something that I don't necessarily see with young people anymore, is that they're constantly on the phone, or the phone is on their person and very visible. It's a very visible part of their demeanor, of themselves. Whereas with Sarah, that definitely wasn't the case.
Thank you. She still uses it, I have to admit. But I think that's where I think awareness and education is really important. And I'm sure you've seen this. Research now show that up to 90% of college age students meet at least one criterion for mental health challenge.
Okay.
And research show that actually the phone is one of the main factors contributing to that. Cyberbullying, isolations, and lack of human skills. It is true that we're still dealing, I'm sure now some of those people, we call them the pandemic generations, are also still suffering from that social isolations. But technology is a double-edged sword.
Right.
Really, that's what I say. It's a tool. It depends how you use it, like everything else.
Right. So the last topic I really want to touch upon and pick your brain on this is that we talked about technology, but along with technology comes social media. And along with social media, unfortunately, there are a lot of trends that, in my opinion, are not really grounded in reality. One of them is, and these are my words, is the demise of expertise. As time has gone on, I've noticed, especially this is particularly true or younger people, and I would say all through their 20s, that's what I would categorize it, even maybe early 30s, people feel like, since I have AI, since I have social media, since I have TikTok, if I have an ailment, I will Google it, I will search it. I don't need to go to a doctor. I don't need to go to a lawyer. I don't need to go to an accountant. I can do all of these things. And there has been a decline in expertise, or the value of having expertise. Now everybody is an expert. A classic example is, I hate to bring up this name, but Joe Rogan, for example. He's a podcaster, and he actually clearly says that I am not an expert on some of the topics that I talk about. But his viewers misinterpret this and say that he said this, he did say this, etc., etc. What are your views on, generally speaking, the demise of expertise? Do you think that this is a real thing? This is my observation. This is not obvious.
No, I think it's a phenomenon. It's there. There's no denying it. Will be absolutely naive. But I want to go back to our earlier decision or discussion about critical thinking. That's really the key.
Okay.
That is really the key. If we can teach and train students, it doesn't matter which field,
Okay.
on how to think rather than what to think. If we can really teach them how to learn, not how to memorize, that's where it's really important. These are tools, and you know what? In many instances, they were proven wrong. And also, these tools inherit the biases of people who programmed them.
Right.
So that's why the critical thinking is really important. Yeah. And actually, I really believe that working with the new generation, trying to explain to them, trying to understand, we're even thinking about a bachelor degree in these the influencers, social media influencers.
Right.
It if it is done and done correctly, it is a profession. It really is a profession, and it can be. And then I really believe we have to fundamentally rethink the way we teach and the way we assess learning. And this is not just higher education. It has to start from early learning. When I say early learning, is from birth to 5, and then from K to 12, and then higher education. When you think about it, it's true for any university. It's really interesting. You go to a classroom.
Yeah.
What do you usually see? Chairs, seats, big screen. If I ask you to go and see a classroom from the 18th century,
Right.
it looks exactly the same. Maybe they did not have projectors,
Right.
but they have blackboard and chalk, but it's always the same principle. Okay. I really think it's time now, and if we don't do it, it might be too late to fundamentally rethink education. Right. Now, the idea of giving a paper to write, a report to write to students, and expect them to critically think, it's over.
Right.
We will be training a generation of people who cannot think.
Right.
Really, who literally are so dependent on Google and AI that they believe what they see, without critically criticizing and thinking it through. So it's not easy what I am talking about, but we have to start. We really have to start. We're at UNF. We are now investigating, and we're working with the federal government to become a true hub of excellence on early learning.
Okay.
Because we believe that early learning is so important. And when I say early learning, it's pre-kindergarten.
Right. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So research show that if you start educating them at their level for pre-earning, their chances to go to high school increase significantly, to go to college significantly, actually even the average salary when they graduate increases significantly. And if you don't start early, you will lose a big chunk and portion of students who will reach third grade without being able to read at the grade level. And let me tell you, Kaushik, a very shocking fact is that many states in the U.S., they look at third grade reading scores to plan how much space in jails they need.
Oh, wow.
Yes. That's why I said we really need to start rethinking everything earlier on, and of course, from K to 12 and higher education. Yeah.
So in the interim, while we are, as all educational institutions, small and large, are going through this flux,
Yes.
From a business standpoint, and I know that this is an issue, a lot of young people just don't want to go to college because they really think the college has no bed. This was about a year and a half ago. I remember I was giving a lecture at my graduate school in Chicago, and I was talking to one of the undergraduate students, and I was a guest of the main lecturer, and we were talking, and she had said that, I'm going to be very honest. I think I'm just here because I need the attendance and I need the grade. I think I know a lot more than this course has to offer. And, and obviously there were a series of questions that I asked the student, and obviously she didn't know a lot more.
As they do.
Right, yes. And it was really about, it was a class on social media. I asked a very simple question. What is the algorithm for going viral? And if you cannot tell me that, you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly.
And obviously she didn't have an answer, but she said, I know TikTok, I know this, I know that, whatever. But this is the general trend of these youngsters now. And I'm not critiquing the youngsters. I definitely think it is very smart.
Yes.
But this is a pervasive view.
Yeah.
How does a university or any educational institution truly combat?
That's a great question. And it's really 1 million questions. And that, again, will separate the winners from the losers, because it's a fact. The value of college is being rethought, it's being questioned, and we see that. Mark Zuckerberg syndrome is still there. He didn't finish this, and he's a billionaire, but it is there, and I think students have to to dream. Right. Now, this is where I really believe rethinking the way which is really important. That students somehow was not completely wrong, because they probably did not know the algorithm. But guess what? On a push of a button, someone, either ChatGPT or Google, will give them the answer.
Right.
So for us as educators to sit there and waste their time for 2 hours, I call it death by PowerPoint, killing them by PowerPoint, it's not the way to go. It really is not. There's many ways where they can do that outside the classroom, and then the critical thinking, the discussion, the guest lecture becomes in the classroom. That's really important. Another thing for higher education, again, I'm a data person. I always go to the research. What does the research say? For many years now, research have shown that college degree will give you a certain amount of dollars depending on the studies compared to somebody who did not go through. Now research is changing. They said that college degree is necessary but no longer sufficient. It's like, okay, so what do? We have to augment a college degree. We have to supplement it with micro-credentials, with now the new generation call it badges or certificates that actually tackle certain specific skills that employers are looking for. A certain, the medical field, certain area that are very specific, that are not covered by the typical curriculum. Right. So that combination is the winning combination. Right. Also, another way of doing this is, and it's interesting because I was meeting with my cabinet and I gave them instructions to really work on this and coming back to us. Again, the bachelor degree with very strict curriculum, I think it's think of the past. Right. Now we have to think stacked credentials. What are stacked credentials? We take a master's degree, for example. Mm-hmm. We will divide it in a different small certificates. Gosh, you have some doubts. Right. That's fine. Come to us, take few courses. You still have a degree because it's a certificate. If you want to stop there, fine. You want another one? Right. You made progress. With the third one, you'll get the master's degree. Right. That's what is the stacked micro-credential. That's the future.
That's awesome. It's almost like, put it in terms of what our viewers will understand, a Minecraft of degrees.
Yes, Minecraft. Yeah.
Of degrees.
That's the future. That's really the future. And that's what I think we're heading. But the typical traditional college degree, they will come very rigid. I think, experiential learning is really important. I know you're working really hard with that, working with hospitals. We made a commitment at UNF that starting next fall, every student will have at least one internship, if not more, during their study. We're committed to that. They cannot graduate if they don't have that.
That's awesome.
Or similar, yes. 93% of students with that experiential learning will have a job at graduation shortly after with competitive salary. That's the number one factor contributing to their success.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Dr. Moez Limayem.
Thank you.
Really appreciate all the insights. I mean, we've gotten so much out of this conversation, especially as it pertains to St. James and its operations in St. Vincent.
Thank you. Thank you, Kaushik. And let me conclude by thanking you and your faculty, staff, and students for the hospitality. Dr. Alia, my wife, she's a smart one, and the family. We've been really impressed with the infrastructure, with the faculty, with the students, with the leadership, on the mindset of openness, the mindset of always striving for excellence and looking for ways to improve. And we are just very impressed with what we've seen. And I can tell you the future of St. James is even better than this great present.
Thank you so much, Dr. Limayem, for giving us these wonderful insights. It's safe to say that higher education typically moves at a glacial pace, whereas you, with your leadership at the helm of UNF, is really changing the norm for that. And you have been a true inspiration to us. I hope our viewers have been as inspired as I have. And if you really enjoyed the contents of this podcast, please do not forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast. Download it from any of your favorite podcast platforms, such as Spotify or Google. And remember, there is no shortcut to becoming an MD.
Thank you so much for tuning into our show. We hope you enjoyed another episode of Med School Minutes. If you like our content, please follow us and receive notification when a new show is posted. This podcast is brought to you by St. James School of Medicine. For a video version of this podcast, please check us out on sjsm.org/video.